I'm Dave Cole Meyer, the problem solver. Thanks so much for joining us today. Today I have AJ, who's a regional leader with Primerica Financial Services. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Dave.
So I know as a regional leader with Primerica Financial Services, I always feel like when I meet with different people, want to learn more about them and what services they offer, what you can basically do or other people to help me, where me as the problem solver, I refer to different people that help people with problems. I guess my first question, just tell us a little bit of how your background, how you got into financial services.
I got into financial services by accident. The pandemic happened. It cut off one of my sources of income, and I started looking for other alternatives. And that's when I found an opportunity to not just better my finances, but also teach people the basics. And so I fell in love with the concept.
When people say Primerica Financial, when you meet with people in general, I think sometimes it gets confusing, these titles. I meet a lot of people these days where they're a public adjuster or they basically do life insurance. What is the main thing that you do to help people?
The main thing that I do is I help them understand their finances better. I'm a federally registered investment representative, so I'm able to help clients invest their money, so grow their wealth, protect their income, budget, save, everything from beginning to end and everything in between.
Okay, so tell me how that would go down. Like right now you're meeting with me.
Yeah.
I'm a possible new client in general. What exactly do you need from me? Are you actually breaking open my bank statements, my investments? Like what do I have to show you? Because I'm assuming that you're going to look at everything as a clear picture.
Of course. Initially, the first thing I want to know are some of your goals, some of your trouble areas, some of the things that you want to focus on. And then from there, the education process begins. And then we crack open the books to see where you are and how to get you where you want to be.
So I guess the question, like anybody else, I guess what's interesting, I always say to certain people, like, I want to be wealthy, right? And I sit down with me and my wife and we show you our financials. What is it specifically? If I'm saying to you that I want to basically create wealth or what we call generational wealth, what is it specifically that you normally would recommend? I mean, I know everyone's a little bit different in the situation, but is it standard these days? Like if someone wants to make wealth, what you recommend?
Yeah, of course. So, with you having a wife and children, the number one thing that we focus on would be, first off, protecting your income.
Mm-hmm.
What do we have in place should you or your wife pass away? Are your kids properly protected? Do they have income to fall back on? From there, we'll start working on budgeting areas where you could be saving money, especially if you have any debt. So this way we could save on the interest of that, and then showing you how to pay yourself first. When it comes to building wealth, you can't build it in a savings account. So that's why knowing how investments work, that helps put you in a better wealth gaining position. When it comes to wealth, it's a habit. And the formula is time, money, and compound interest.
But when you say that you're looking at budgeting and debt, like my situation, like I'm all over the place, right? Like business, things going on. Are you looking at like tax returns? Are you like, well, how deep do you go?
As deep as you want me to go. It just, like I said, it's a case-to-case situation. We have all the tools to help point you in the right direction. If you have more money going out than you have coming in, then the conversation is how can we get some more revenue coming in? If you have too many bills, then we have an amazing debt stacking program that can help you get out of debt. And most of the time, half the time faster than you would have been doing it on your own, free of charge. So this way, we allocate more funds for you to start putting it towards your wealth building goals.
Okay, so for someone who's never heard of Primerica, how would you explain, what you do in simple terms? Because I guess even when you explain to me what you're doing in general, I think most people are nervous to open up their books.
Yeah.
To basically, one, this could be depressing, right? A lot of people are like, paycheck to paycheck in general, where they don't want to open up their books, or they're nervous, or their tax returns, or in general. So I guess in simple terms, what do you do specifically when you meet with somebody? I guess the average person, right? They're working, they have a job, they're basically like month to month, they're paying their bills, they're paying their rent, and things are basically tight.
Yeah.
Are you looking also at their credit cards to see what the interest rates are?
Everything.
So anything financial, you're going to sit down with everything and go over everything with them to basically have a blueprint of what they're doing.
Yeah. Primerica, in a simple description, it's a one-stop financial services marketing company. So basically your Amazon of financial services.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what financial mistakes would you say basically that you see families making in general when you do this, when you open up the books and they're showing you different things, and you get to that point, what do you see that families are making? What kind of mistakes are they making where we can avoid them in the future?
Of course, number one is overspending on their income. They basically they have more month than money. The other thing would be waiting too long to come up with a game plan, waiting too long to invest. The sooner you invest, the less you have to put away in order to get to your wealth building or retirement goal.
So when you say invest, what are the normal products that you basically normally talk about investing? What are some of the ones that you normally, what should be people investing in that you feel on the average? Of course, it's different from everybody in general. What's your take on that? What type of products are you offering that help people?
We have everything from, Roth IRAs to annuities, segregated funds, college funds, you name it. It all depends on what that family's goal is. We deal in mutual funds, so it makes it a lot safer, a lot easier to educate, especially our middle income families. We also have managed accounts. So for more of your savvier investors, high-end investors, we have all the tools available for them to reach their wealth goal.
And how do you feel when some people say that, well, a lot of these companies take a lot of fees? What's your take on that in regards to fees that come out of the mutual funds and these different funds that are out there? People say that in the long run, the mutual fund or the hedge fund company is making more money than you would, that you're losing so much money over the long term. I mean, I think that's what some people do here.
Yeah, I've heard that. That was also one of my thoughts before I understood how all of this stuff works. At the end of the day, you're losing more on the growth of your money, trusting yourself to do it, or going on limited education. When you do anything in life to get the best outcome, you're gonna pay some type of fees. When you sit down, you open up the books and see what your long-term achievement is compared to the fees that you pay, it's minimal.
Especially for the fact that if you do nothing in general.
Yeah.
Compared to if you do nothing in general.
Yeah, a lot of people that use these apps to do investments themselves, they don't realize what they're investing in and how much they're actually paying in fees for those. It'd be more than sitting down with a professional.
Why do you think basically financial literacy is more important now than before?
It's always been important, but a lot of people are blaming politics and the economy. We've always had to deal with the economy. Every year we go to the grocery store, we're spending more on groceries. Every time we go to the gas station, we're spending more on gas. Inflation happens at 3.6% on average. So financial education is always going to be important, especially now because there is such an overwhelming amount of information out there. And if you go to the wrong sources, you can end up in worse trouble than doing nothing at all. Mm-hmm. So sitting down with a professional and having the right type of advice is especially more important now, because back in the day, you didn't have, your Instagram and all of this where you can turn on and there's some guru telling you what you need to do with your money. That's absolutely not the right way to go.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know you mentioned different services that you offer in regards to families. What about for small business owners?
Yeah, it's the same thing for business owners. Most business owners do not have a game plan. They don't have a reliable source to go to and sit down with, and especially that one that's not going to charge them a fee to sit down and consult with them. Everything that we do for our clients is complimentary. We get paid for the services that we offer by the service providers. Mm-hmm. So sitting down with business owners is one of our specialties, because they're some of the ones that are left naked. They know how to bring in money, but nothing else after that. There's no game plan, nothing to help stabilize.
How would you say, how do you help families get properly protected before they start investing? A lot of people want to invest in the future. They want to make money. How do you properly protect them before they start,
I love that answer, because that's something that most people don't think about. In your earlier years, when you have young kids, you have higher liabilities, like your mortgage loans, car loans, stuff like that. You want to make sure that there is borrowed wealth. So income protection is life insurance. It is a tool to help put your family in, help them not miss a beat financially if one of the breadwinners passes away. One thing that we forget about is, we don't just lose a loved one, we lose their income. And if we don't have something in place, especially in the earlier years when you have more money going out, that could put you in a devastating situation and crippling your legacy for generations to come.
Okay, what role does term life insurance play in building a strong financial foundation?
It plays a huge role because it allows you to get the most coverage for the least amount of monthly premium. This way, you can allocate the rest of that money to growing your wealth in an investment. One of the things that we teach our clients is to buy term, small amount of premium monthly, and then invest the difference. So you're basically balancing the scale. You're protecting your income, and you have something going towards building your wealth. We're the only company that will teach you how to not pay insurance for the rest of your life.
It's interesting because a lot of people, I've always heard like term because it's the cheapest insurance you can buy, especially if you're protecting, like you have kids or family and stuff like that as well, right?
Yes.
Why is it the cheapest? The people that don't know why, like why is term the cheapest compared to, because it's more likely that you're going to live for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
Term's more expensive, right, if you're 80 years of age.
Yeah. The reason why it's least expensive is because it's the purest form of insurance. It does exactly what it says it's going to do. It protects you in case you die too soon. A lot of these, there are so many other tools out there that people don't understand how it works. When you go to another form of life insurance, most of the time you're paying more for fees and other and cost of insurance that's going up every single year. With a term policy, you're locked in for the term of that policy, paying that same monthly premium for the amount of years that you're locked in for.
So term is normally the first thing if you're a younger person in general, but if you're older, what's your take on that then, if someone's older?
If you're older, term is still going to be the least expensive.
Okay.
But that's the need for financial education. You don't want to have to wait until you get older to have those systems in place. By the time you're a lot older, you want to have wealth accumulated. So if you do need life insurance, it will be something minimal just to take care of funeral expenses. This way that your family's not dipping into the wealth accounts that you have built up that's created for yourself and them.
And what's the biggest myth that people believe about investing?
That you have to be rich in order to start investing. That you have
people
to
think
have
they need to have money to invest.
Yeah.
But most people investing that are limited is just small amounts of investing that you.
It's the habit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not how much money you make. It's how much money you keep. It's what you do with that money. So it's a learned behavior. I like teaching, especially the younger kids, to start putting away, at least $100, $200 a month in your earlier years. That saves you from having to put, thousands of dollars away monthly to hit that same goal because you waited 5-10 years too late to start investing.
Okay. What tips would you say in regards to like the average person that's, let's say, 35 or 40, like in the middle, that people should be doing more than when they're younger or they're older, like the person that's in the middle, like the age of 40? What tips would you have for someone of that age?
As far as
just whether it's investing or insurance, what to protect themselves, their family, or is there anything like when you're different when you're younger? It may be different when you're older or when you're younger. Things are different, right?
Yeah.
Like you may not think that you need insurance. Of course, anyone would want to buy insurance to protect themselves. But I think in the middle age of 40, basically, how should the average person be protected? What should they have right now?
In your middle age, you need to have more wealth accumulated. So more money in your investments, lower in your life insurance, because at that point your kids are grown. So you have less financial liabilities. Hopefully your house is paid off at that point. So you're talking about setting up for retirement in the coming years. enjoying your life.
What's your thoughts with people when they're buying a home that most people have a 30-year mortgage? What's your take on the 30-year mortgage or paying it off? Or like, how do you structure things differently on the most part? Is there anything specific that you do or tips? Like some people believe in paying it off by making extra payments and things like that. Any thoughts in regards to that? You've seen people do?
For personally, it's a case-to-case basis, depending on what your overall goal is, depending on how much money you have aside, depending on what you're wanting to leverage. Me personally, I'm not mortgage licensed, but I have a whole mortgage team that can sit down and explain that to our clients. But it's all case-to-case.
Got it.
Yeah.
What is your ideal client right now? Who are you looking for specifically to help?
I want to help middle-income families and business owners. There's a lot of education, misinformation out there, and those are the people that once they have an understanding, they're fastest to share and pass on that information.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then can someone with no financial background succeed in your type of business?
You're looking at her.
Okay.
I started with zero financial prowess, zero financial education, and that's why I saw this as a great opportunity because I didn't have anybody judging me. Prior to this, my only idea of finances was how to make money and how to spend it, and you could see how I was going nowhere fast. So yes, you can be successful.
What does the training and the mentorship look like for a new agent joining your team? Since I believe that as a regional leader, that's what you're specifically looking for people. Is that what it is?
Yeah, absolutely.
That want to tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you know what? A lot of people that come into this industry have zero background. So we spend a lot of time on the education process, the licensing. Our company actually sponsors all of the licensing, life insurance, investments, mortgage loan licenses. This basically alleviates financial stress of getting into the industry. We also do hands-on training, showing our new agents how to put themselves in a better financial situation, and then also how to talk to their clients about that. The training and mentorship never ends because we're dealing with finances. It's constantly changing, constantly evolving. So it's a never-ending process, and that's what keeps me excited about it.
Why is this such a powerful opportunity for entrepreneurs or sales professionals or business owners? Why is it such a great thing to be involved in?
Well, the common thing that I see people wanting these days is time freedom and income freedom. This allows me to have both. It allows me to have ownership. It allows me to have education. It allows me to have leadership in my community. So it gives me purpose, it gives me flexibility, and it gives me ownership, which is something you don't have in a 9-to-5.
What makes, let's say, this business model different from traditional corporate careers compared to what you're currently doing?
Well, once
Because
again,
traditional, you're stuck in a certain location where you're not as free.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm responsible for my income. I'm responsible for my growth. I don't own my job. It's not something I can pass down to my kids. My kids wouldn't want my job, But having the ownership, being able to own my business, something that I can pass down and offer as legacy to my family.
And how does the opportunity allow someone to build a remote or flexible income stream?
Well, because of our technology package, I've been able to build my business over the last 6 years paperlessly and wirelessly. It allows me to travel. I do Zoom meetings. I meet people in person. I basically get to run my business my way and on my terms. And being able to meet people now over Zoom and just build a relationship gives me the ability to build my business as big as I want to. I'm licensed in 14 different states. I have agents in about 40 different states.
Just because you're on Zoom, right? You're meeting different people.
Yeah.
In general. Okay. And then right now, how many agents do you currently assist right now?
Right now, I have about 75 licensed agents. I have more agents than that, but 75 currently licensed, 4 investment representatives. And my goal is to get to 300 licensed agents.
Okay. And how many people do you think that these 70, 75 people affect in regards to families or homes? How many people do you think that your team affects in regards to financial literacy and helping them as well for investing?
You know what? The more people I have, the better. Because with any business opportunity, with any job, 20% of the people are going to do 80% of the work. And that's why I'm hoping to get to, that's why the goal is to get to 300 agents. That's more impact, more financial freedom for families. The things that I'm preaching, that I'm so passionate about, I need more boots on the ground to be able to facilitate that.
Okay, and what's been the most rewarding client story that you've experienced so far?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, this is a good and a bad one. I have a gentleman that I met with, came as a referral because he heard about the buy term invest the difference. He had already invested into an IUL policy. And by the time he got to me, he was super excited about his plan. He was raving about, how he took out $20,000 from his 401k because they told him that the market was volatile and he needed to put it in this IUL tool, and that he would have about $3 million in the next few years, and his policy was paid up for like about 20 years. Mm-hmm. This was in November, and we met in February. By the time February had rolled around, he had almost no money in his IUL policy, and his policy was going to be lapsing the following November. So not only was he ill-advised to take his $20,000 of his 401k and roll it into an IUL product, which those are not the same things. They're not investments. He initially lost $8,000 just right off the bat in penalties. From the $12,000 that was left, it was eaten up with fees and other, other things in the fine print that he didn't realize. So by the time he got to me just a few months later, he had about $1,800 left in that IUL. And then he wasn't actually able to get that full 18 out because they were going to penalize him for taking the rest of that money out. So.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, you got to be careful, Joe. That's why I think people get nervous and they procrastinate with these things in general.
Yeah.
What kind of mindset does someone need to succeed in your industry in regards to what you do as a regional leader and also helping people?
Well, definitely not a 9-to-5 mindset. Growth mindset, abundance mindset. Somebody who is used to looking outside of themselves. That person who typically, if they go into a job, they're doing more than what's required of them. They're not waiting for somebody to tell them what to do. People that don't want to just have the typical American dream, like the white picket fence. People that want to build charities, want to leave legacies. People that want to have impact in their communities. Like those are my favorite people to work with. Mm-hmm. Of course, this opportunity is for everybody, but not everybody's for it. Mm-hmm. And what I've noticed is some of the best people to work with have a heart for serving others before themselves.
Okay. Last question I have for you as we wrap up. If someone's listening, wants financial guidance or is open to building a business with you, what's the next step?
The next step is to text me at 727-877-0110. Just text the word READY and your name, and we'll proceed from there.
Okay, well, I appreciate AJ as a regional leader, Primerica Financial Services, coming on the Problem Solver again. If people have questions, concerns, they want me to connect you to you, my number is really easy to remember, which is 702-999-1111. That's 702-999-1111. And I'll connect you to AJ, whether you're interested in getting more financial literacy, finding out what products and services that she offers, or if you basically want to get involved in the opportunity by basically doing financial services, I definitely want to get you in touch with AJ. So AJ, again, appreciate you coming on, just kind of educating us a little bit. It gets overwhelming, and a lot of people procrastinate when it comes to financial literacy and taking action. They're unsure in general. So anybody that have will basically refer to you, and hopefully you can help them take them to the next level.
I would love that. Thank you so much again for having me on. This is an amazing platform. I love what you do for the community as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next Problem Solver.
Absolutely.
Take care.